Hello, my name is Stuart Wood and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what you need to get started in macro photography. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how easy it is to get into macro photography using just some cheap and easy equipment. Now, if you are new to macro photography, then please do check out my 5 tips for better macro photography. I will leave a link in the description below. But for now, let's break out the equipment onto the desk and let's take a look at what you need to get started in macro photography. I'm going to assume you've already got a camera and you've already got a lens. The first piece of equipment you are going to need for macro photography, I would suggest, are these. These are macro extension tubes, okay? Now you can get, let me just look at this, you can get reverse lenses as well, and I'll talk about each one in turn. So the reverse lens is basically, you take your lens off and put it onto your camera backwards, and that gives you a macro lens. However, I dislike that method because you lose control of your f-stop. Now there are some gadgets out there that will give you the control of your stop back, but we're talking basic equipment here, okay? You can also get clip-on lenses that go into the front of your camera. Now I've not used any of those, so I'm not going to talk about those in this video because I don't have the experience, but they are an option for you if you want to go down that route. So the best thing I find are a set of these. Now these are autofocus extension tubes. They cost about £15, okay? Now these ones are metal, so they can take the weight off my L series lens, and I have used them with the L series lens. But what's more important is they are autofocus tubes. So if you have a look inside there, you see you've got the connections. So what these do is they maintain the connection from the camera body to the lens so that you can basically change your f-stop. Now they're called autofocus extension tubes, but I don't use autofocus on macro photography, so I use them to change my f-stop, okay? Like I said, these are £15, and what we can do is we take the lens off, we can then put our extension tubes on and then put our lens on to the extension tubes. That will bring our lens away from our camera body, which will increase the magnification of the lens. Now the downfalls are you are going to lose depth of field, and the further away you get from the lens, the less light will be getting into the actual sensor of the camera. Now typically with these extension tubes, you have 3 different extension tubes. These particular ones, I've got a 13mm, a 21mm and a 31, and you can take them off individually. So you can fit any ones you want onto your particular camera. I'm just going to put them aside because I know we're going to be using the 31mm on this instant. Right, let me just put this back on the camera. Now, downside of extension tubes is you can introduce a lot of dust and dirt into your camera, which means you have to clean your camera a lot often. I am going to do a video on that because this one does need cleaning, so we're going to take an opportunity to make a video of that. However, they are cheap and they are great for a beginner to get into macro photography. Now we have Missy, who is just out of the camera frame. So what I've got is I've got this big plant. I'll try not to get it too much into the place. But we have Missy, she's up here. Okay. And we're going to use her again as a test subject. I'm just going to spin this around. Let's put you up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a picture with just the extension tubes on. I am at 1/200th of a second on the shutter speed, 3.2 on the f-stop, and ISO 100. Now I can see Missy perfectly okay, but unfortunately I can't get a good exposure. Now I could take a picture, but unfortunately it's going to be black. So that's where we need to introduce some light. Now we can put our ISO up. Let me just try that now. Unfortunately, we're putting the ISO up, it's going to introduce noise into the pictures. And I'm not a fan of grain in my macro shots. We'll see if we can get an exposure. I can get an exposure, but it's going to be a pretty poor one. Okay, so my shutter speed is so slow that I've got motion blur, and I'd have to put my ISO above 800, and that is going to be very grainy, but let me just show you that. So there you have a shot with just the macro tubes. Now this is exactly where I started off, okay? Just macro tubes. But as you can see from the picture, there's a lot of noise in there, so we need to reduce our ISO. Now, typically I like to shoot at 100 ISO, and to do that we're going to need to use one of these. Now you can pick up one of these for probably £50 off Amazon. This is a manual flash. Now the model of this one is a Yongnuo YN562, full manual flash. Okay, my camera settings are going to be 1/200th of a second, f3.2 at ISO 100. So we've dropped the ISO back down to 100, try and keep the image clean. I'm going to start off at 128 power, which is the lowest this flash will go to. I'm going to start off there, and because it's manual, I'll need to bump the power up. Let's find Missy. She's right on the end here. Okay, so you can see from there it's too dark. Let's put the power up a little bit more. We will try and get another shot. Okay, there you go. So now you can see that from there we've got a shot now. There's very low noise in the image, but it's very harsh lighting, okay? So our next step is to diffuse the lighting. So we're going to use one of these. Now, I've got this off Amazon for about £15, and it is a flash diffuser. So it just opens up. Okay, so there we go. So that's now on there. Now this will serve two purposes, okay? It's going to diffuse the light coming from the flash, and also it extends where the light comes from. So that, you know, some instances I've had the whole extension tubes on here, and the bare flash can cause a shadow because the light hits the lens. It can cause a shadow. So this extends it a little bit, so now we've got a lot better lighting. Okay, so we've got the flash diffuser on now, so my power on the flash is going to remain the same because we are diffusing it, but the light source is actually closer to the subject. So we're just going to take a test shot and we'll see what we get. Okay, so you can see from there it is too bright, so I'm going to lower my power. I'm lower it by 2 steps. I don't know if that stops on this flash, to be honest with you. I've lowered it by 2, and we'll take another picture. So there you go. We've got a nice image out of that using fairly cheap equipment. Okay. So one thing I want to talk to you about is modelling light. Okay, now because this is a manual flash and it's a flash that's on top of the camera, there's no modelling light like you have on the twin macro flash. So if you find yourself in a situation where it's slightly too dark, you can't see your subject through your viewfinder, and this is what you can do. You go and get yourself one of these. You get these off Amazon for about £10. Okay, and I'll do it this side so you can see. What you do is you place this inside your flash diffuser. Okay, that's now in there, and what I can do is if I turn this on, you can see there how I have a nice light now that I can use as a modelling light to light up my subject so as I can get the focusing right and take the picture. Okay, so you can see here that this is without the LED torch. You can see how dark the image is, and this is with the LED torch. Now it doesn't brighten up very much, but it brightens it up enough that you can get your focusing point set. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some more pictures of Missy on this plant. Now I've got this household plant from my local superstore. It's only £3. It's great for macro photography. You place your subject on it and you take a picture. So all of these pictures you're seeing are done with this setup, with the exact same flash and the extension tubes. So there you go, that's all you need to get started in macro photography, okay? Now links to all of this stuff is down below. They are for the Canon camera, so if you are shooting Nikon or Sony, then please do the research, find the flash and the extension tubes for your camera, okay? But that is exactly how I started. In fact, I started with non-autofocus macro tubes, which I would not recommend. I want to thank you for watching this video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to get notified when new videos go live. My name is Stuart Wood. This is Missy. We'll see you on the next video.